If your students are anything like mine, then they tend to complain when it comes time to write any sort of personal writing because nothing exciting ever happens to me, or I'm such a boring person. And this becomes problematic when you teach seniors because the big piece that they write this year is their college essay. And so a couple of years ago, I played around with the idea of a body map. And so I know that I have students who had created body maps when they studied characterization with Romeo and Juliet freshman year, or maybe when they were reading Of Mice and Men as juniors. And so I wanted to play around with that idea, except instead of a literary figure, let's talk about themselves. So every day on the first day of school, after I've gone over my policies and procedures, because nobody wants to hear about the syllabus anyway, I hand them a sheet of paper that looks like this. And so already they're kind of like, what's up with this lady? But they're also open-minded because they have spent all day doing get to know you activities. And so what's one more? So I give them this body map and I tell them that I want each body part on the map to correspond with a prompt that I will give them. And so it looks like this. And so each body part has a different question that I want them to ask about themselves. And so because I always tell them that I don't want them to have to do anything that I wouldn't do myself, I also have a body map that I show them. So this is nice because it makes it a lot less scary when you can see one already finished, but also it serves as a way for them to get to know me. So that works too. So I go through how I would answer all of those prompts according to my life, and then I set them loose. And so some put more effort into it than others, but of course that's how seniors are. So they can color, they can draw, they can add words, but the idea is that I want anybody who looks at their map to know how they personally would answer that question. So that usually takes about a class period. So at the end of the class period, we hang them up all over the room, and I do a gallery walk with them. And so again, this is under the guise of getting to know you, learning a little bit about your classmates. And so on the back of the prompt sheet, I give them questions that I want to consider during their gallery walk. So for example, I asked them, what was the most interesting thing that you learned? If you could ask that person one question as a follow-up about what you learned about them, what would it be? I asked them what was the most unique thing that you saw. But then I also asked them, what trends did you notice in answers to the questions? So they go through, they jot down their answers to the questions, and then we talk. And so after we come up with a joint list of the interesting things about our classmates, which are always amazing to hear, the follow-up questions, the things that are most unique, and we talk about the trends, that's when I tell them that what they have just done is pre-writing for a college essay. And, you know, the jaws kind of drop because they're surprised. And I didn't mention the dreaded word college essay, which their parents have already been harping on them about. And understandably so. In the past several years, college essays have taken on an incredible amount of weight. So I get them to start thinking more uniquely about themselves. So after we have this list of trends, I have them go find their body map, take a writing utensil with them. And so we put up on the board, you know, okay, you said that a trend that you saw was that everybody thinks that their family represent a relationship that they find very meaningful. Okay, go ahead and cross that out if you put family, and you hear some groans. But if I hear a lot of groans, that of course means that a lot of us have put that on their body map. I put that on my body map. My family is important. So we go through any of the trends that we saw, but then we also will look at some of the cliches of college essays. So they can either be things that I've garnered from the internet or things that I have seen over my past 17 years of teaching. You know, I tell them, like, I can't possibly read another essay about blank. And if you have an essay about blank, then go ahead and cross it off. And so hopefully what happens then is when we're finished and you weed through any of the crossed off ideas, you have something that is uniquely you. And that might not be the total focus of your essay, but it is definitely a springing off point into what should be a memorable and unique college essay. So it takes a little bit of the pressure off of my students when I do it this way. You know, I'm in a high performing district. The parents are very invested. I get emails every summer before school starts asking, you know, if we're going to be writing one and when we're going to start, because deadlines are, you know, this time of year. And so I know that the kids are also getting that sort of pressure. So this way, we've already talked about it on the first day. They can go home and tell their parents. They've already started thinking about it. And then from there, we can start thinking about how to depict the creative and unique person that they are.